Obandesu, you've returned. Sit very close tonight. We are almost at the end of something and the beginning of something else. It is time for chapter 99. Every torii gate in Japan marks a boundary between the ordinary world and the sacred space beyond it, between what is permitted and what requires permission, between the world of the living and the world that exists just alongside it. Most torii gates stand at the entrance to shrines. They are oriented, purposeful. The path through them leads somewhere specific, but occasionally, in forests where no shrine has ever been built, a torii gate stands alone, with no path leading to it, no shrine beyond it, no explanation for its presence, simply the gate, and the boundary it marks, and the question of what lies on the other side that required marking. I know such gates. I have passed through more than one. The forest always looks the same on the other side. It is only when you turn back that you understand what you have done. A woman was hiking through a dense forest in a mountainous area when she came across the gate. She was perhaps an hour from the nearest trail marker, in a section of forest that felt genuinely remote. Old growth, the kind of forest that has been left largely undisturbed for long enough to develop its own particular atmosphere. She almost missed the gate entirely, saw it through the trees slightly to her left, and altered her route to look more closely. A torii gate, traditional in its construction. Red paint faded to a particular orange that belonged to old lacquer rather than new. Standing upright, solid, entirely out of place in a forest with no shrine, no path, no indication of any human construction beyond the gate itself. She walked around it, examined it from both sides, then stood before it, and stepped through. The forest on the other side looked identical. The same trees, the same density, the same quality of light filtering through the canopy. She turned around immediately to look back through the gate. The gate was there, but it was facing the other direction. The side that had been facing away from her as she approached was now facing her, as though the gate had rotated while she passed through it, or as though she had come out on the side she had entered from, which the evidence of her own movement told her was not possible. She stood on the far side of the gate and looked at it facing away from her and felt the particular stillness of someone who has just understood that they have done something that cannot be immediately undone. If these stories have found their way to you, if you find yourself returning to this quiet room, there is something small you can do. Like and subscribe. It tells me, and whatever else watches from this room, that you were here and that you intend to find your way back. She passed back through the gate. It felt the same as the first time, simply walking through a structure in a forest. She turned around again. The gate was facing away from her again. She was back on the original side. She stood and thought carefully about what this meant. The gate appeared to orient itself so that whoever passed through it was always on the far side, always beyond the boundary, regardless of the direction of travel. She passed through it a third time, turned around, far side again. She stood on the far side of the gate and looked at the forest around her. It looked identical to the forest she had been hiking through, but the sounds were different, the birds were different. The wind moved through the canopy with a quality she could not immediately identify, but that registered as wrong in the particular way that something familiar made slightly unfamiliar registers. She stood very still and listened, and heard something moving toward her through the trees, not quickly, not dramatically, with the unhurried patience of something that had been waiting for this gate to admit a visitor and had just been notified, shakkoi. That sound cold and purposeful in a forest that should have been empty. She passed back through the gate immediately, did not wait to see what was approaching, simply turned and stepped through, found herself on the original side, turned, far side again. She stopped, breathed, then did something different. Instead of turning back toward the gate, she walked forward, away from it, into the forest on what she believed was the original side, without checking which side she was on, without looking back. She walked for perhaps 20 minutes and found the trail marker she had passed an hour earlier. She was back. She walked out without looking back. She was still uncomfortable when she told me, not dramatically, simply the particular discomfort of someone who has understood something about the world that does not fit comfortably into the framework they previously used to navigate it. She said the thing that stayed with her most was not the gate itself, not even the sound of something moving toward her through the trees. It was the discovery that the only way back was to stop paying attention to the gate, to walk forward without checking, without verifying, simply trusting that the world she started in was still there ahead of her, and that looking back, turning around, trying to determine which side she was on, was precisely what kept her on the wrong side. The gate worked on attention, on the particular kind of attention that looks for boundaries and finds them. I think about boundaries, about what it means to mark a space as requiring passage rather than simple presence. A torii gate is not a wall. It does not prevent. It simply marks, says, what is on this side is different from what is on that side, and passing through acknowledges the difference. Most torii gates mark the entrance to shrines, sacred spaces maintained by human intention and practice. But the gate in the forest marks something older, something that predates the shrine tradition, something that required marking before marking had a formal language. Simply the gate, standing in the old growth, orienting itself toward whoever passes through, notifying whatever lives on the far side that a visitor has arrived, and waiting, with the patience of something that has been waiting since before patience had a word for it. Ndanyaa. I have always known that certain boundaries exist for reasons that curiosity alone is not sufficient to justify crossing. Another whispered story from Japan, shared quietly here beside the kotatsu. If you find a torii gate standing alone in a forest with no shrine and no path, do not pass through it. Look at it carefully. Appreciate its presence, but do not step through, because the gate marks a real boundary between the world you are standing in and the world on the other side that required marking. And once you have passed through, the gate will orient itself to keep you on the far side, and something in that forest will be notified and will begin moving toward you with the unhurried patience of something that has been waiting for exactly this kind of visitor for a very long time, and the only way back as she discovered, is to stop paying attention to the gate and walk forward, away from it, into whatever lies ahead, and trust that the world you started in is still where you left it, waiting for you to find your way back. If this story stayed with you, if the dark or the shadow feels a little closer tonight, you know where to find me. I am always here beside the kotatsu, watching, waiting. And if you wish others to find their way here too, there is something small you can do. Like and subscribe. I would not object.